Now, Recovery Self-Help Method Ireland is a charity which is funded by the HSE. It provides a specialised form of cognitive behavioural training to its members. Recovery Self-Help Method Ireland is coming to Ennis, and with us to explain further is Charles Kelly. Charles is the Area Group Leader for Recovery Ireland and Director of Recovery Self-Help Method Ireland. Good morning to you, Charles.
Good morning. Lovely to be on your show. Thank you.
Thanks for being with us. So, tell us a little bit about Recovery Self-Help Method Ireland, when it all began.
Recovery Self-Help Method Ireland, it began officially as an Irish charity. It was established in 1971, and we are an Irish branch of Recovery International, which was founded in 1937 by a psychiatrist, Dr. Lowe, in the University of Illinois. We're non-religious, we're non-profit. It's run by members for members. We only offer training and self-help in a self-help method. We do not offer advice or any medical, clinical or psychological therapy. So we wouldn't be in conflict with any other therapies that people are getting, and we wouldn't interfere.
Okay. So it's a powerful way to help reduce distress that's caused by mental health problems and nervous symptoms.
Yes, correct. We would tell you we can, if you have anxiety, depression, OCD, anger, insomnia, nervousness, these are all linked to that thing in your head called your brain, and your willpower can be weakened, and this is all to help you strengthen your willpower. And Dr. Lowe calls his first book that he wrote, Mental Health Through Will Training. So we're training your will.
Okay, so I mean, I would imagine from that, it can help with things like anxiety, stress, depression. But what else can it help alleviate?
It can alleviate compulsive thoughts. People can feel sometimes mental health issues manifest as physical symptoms. Like people say, "Oh, I have terrible tension in my stomach," and they go to the doctor, and the doctor says, "You're perfectly healthy. There's nothing wrong." It can manifest in twitches, shakes, and again, the doctor does their test and they say there's nothing wrong with your GP. And some doctors know about recovery, and they may suggest this is an option to help, and it's proven to help. And when you go to a meeting, you meet other members who have similar stories, or sometimes, and that gives you hope often, that you say, if it can help them, it can help me. But it takes effort. Dr. Lowe would say you must come and you must engage, and it takes time. You can't expect an instant help.
Okay, so you kind of have to be committed to the process as well if you want to actually see some positive results come out of it.
You do. What can happen, you get an initial help because the act of coming means that you're facing up to the issue, and you get that. You can get that initial sort of, in the first week or two, you get help, but then you can get setbacks. You say, "Oh, here we go again," and that's where you must double down and keep working at the system, because the system does work. It's very simple. Dr. Lowe, who I refer to all the time, he uses terminology which we call a spot. It's simple, but it's not easy. If you actually hear it, if you sat at a meeting and listen, you say, "Oh, that's simple. I know that." But the point is, but also a lot of things that sabotage your help. Friends and family might say things when you're struggling with an issue. They may say, "Snap out of it," or all you need is this. And they often don't, because they're not going through it. They don't understand how all pervasive it can be.
For people who are listening, you mentioned the meetings. Is that how someone gets started if they're interested in Recovery Self-Help Method? Or, is there a registration process or things that you have to fill out online?
You can look up the meetings, available meetings on the website, and just walk into the meeting and just say, "I'm new. This is my first time," and you'll be welcomed. And what we normally say to a person is, if you just listen initially and be patient, wait till the end of the first meeting, and then ask questions. We'll give you an initial introduction, of course, but it's people find the language a little strange. Once you get used to it, you get what it's about. But they find the language a little strange, but you get used to it very quickly. Some people don't have, they say, oh, it's not for me, and they just go away. And then we've had many people who go away after a few meetings and they say, I went away for 10 years, 20 years, and I wish now I'm so glad I'm back now. I wish I stayed, because that's 20 years where I could have been using recovery.
So what happens generally at the average recovery self-help method meeting?
It's the standard format at any meeting you would go to globally. And what happens is we read from Dr. Lowe's book. We start on time. We read from a chapter from Dr. Lowe's book. We then would introduce ourselves. We do that in case somebody arrives in late, because we want to start the meeting late and on time. We don't wait for people. We then introduce ourselves, and then we go into what are called example period, where a member from around the room would give an example of an issue where we use the term where they got worked up. So that could mean I felt anxious, I felt angry, I felt low, something that caused that. And then we would ask you to explain, we call it step 2, what happened physically in your head and your body. How did it manifest? Like, did you have shivers? Did you have tightness in your stomach? We would go through that in a little bit of detail. And then we would ask you, your racing thoughts in your brain, what were the thoughts that were in your brain? It might be, oh, snap out of it. You might be saying to yourself, I might say, Charlie, snap out of it, in your own head. And, I'm useless. Why can't I do this? And all this type of thing. So you just articulate those to the group, because often you have no one to say it to, so you say it. Then you go to step 3, where you use Dr. Lowe's tools, which we call it the spots. And these tools are quotes from Dr. Lowe's books. The reason we call them tools is they refer back to the readings. So somebody might say, in doubt, fear, and panic, you can always move the muscle. And I can explain that later. But anyone in recovery, oh yeah, that reminds me, just move. It means just do something physical, and that retrains your brain that you're capable. And then after you've done that for a short time, you then would talk about, before I ever knew of recovery, and I was sitting in that situation, how I would have reacted. And the person would often say, oh, I'd go to bed, or I'd cry, or I just, whatever would happen. Okay. And then we would ask you to sit quietly and listen to the group while they give you some extra spots that you may not have thought of. And we do that for about 10 minutes. And that's how the process works. And we do that for a few people. And then at the end, then we call it mutual aid time, where we would have a cup of tea. And our COVID has changed things a little bit. We'd have a cup of tea and a chat, and people say, do you have any questions? And if I had any news as a group leader, I would say, well, there's a group leaders meeting this Saturday, and other activities. And I might even mention that, it was on Clear FM, and talk about the interview and say they can have a listen online. Okay.
Time is against us, Charles, but just before we finish, the Recovery Self-Help Method will be coming to Ennis. Can you just tell us when it's coming and where people can find out more information on that if they'd like to attend?
It's going to be in the community centre in Ennistown, and it is it'll be on January the 28th at 7:30. Okay. And that's Friday, January the 28th at 7:30. Now, they can get more details on our website, recoveryIreland.ie. They can phone the office at a Dublin number 01 62 60 775. And I can also give you the number of the person who's going to lead the meeting. He's willing to take calls if you phone him on his mobile, and his mobile number is 087 293 5754. I'll just give that again, 087 293 5754. And again, the website has a lot of information on it. It is a list of all our meetings, the times, and the details on the Ennis meeting are on that website. So anyone who didn't pick it up, recoveryireland.ie is the website.
Okay, fantastic. Charles, thanks very much for joining us this morning. Appreciate your time.
I'm so glad you give me the time, because we do feel we really can help people, and it's free of charge, by the way. We do ask people if they want to give a contribution, but we don't expect anyone to give money. We want to offer the service free.
Okay, Charles Kelly, thank you very much for joining us. Charles is Area Group Leader with Recovery Ireland and Director of Recovery Self-Help Method Ireland. All the details there.